Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Welcome to the segment of Code Gurbani's a-sabad-a-day. Our recitation from Gaudi Cheti Mahalla Panjama follows. Ek Onkar Satgur Prasad Rag Gaudi Cheti Mahalla Panjama Sukh nahi re Har Bhagat Bina जीत जन्म इहो रतन मोलक साध संगत जप इक खिना रहाओ सुत संपत बनता विनोद छोड़ गहे बहु लोग भोग हैवर गैवर राज रंग त्याग चलियो है मूड़ नंग चोआ चंदन दे फूलिया सो तन धर संग रुलिया मोहे मोहया जाने दूर है कहो नानक सदा हदूर है मोह मोया जाने दूर है कहो नानक सदा हदूर है. A short passage, but before we get into the meaning, just a word on the header. In the printed versions of the Guru Granth that we've noticed, the display of the rag is at the top, followed by Ek Onkar Satguru Prasad, and that is questionable because in the scheme and structure of the Granth, Ek Onkar stands independent and is not a part of any rag or musical meter, and in fact is the prologue and header for the entire Granth. So it seems that it should be placed above the musical meter. And that's what we've attempted to do in our written composition here. But the passage is very short and to the point. The Guru is very clear. He says, Sukh nahi re Har Bhagat Bina. You cannot experience Sukh. And we'll talk about what Sukh is. Bhagat Bina, without Bhakti. Again, we'll figure out what Bhakti might mean. So, it's impossible to have Sukh without Bhakti. And yet, the injunction is, Jeet janam eh ratan amolak sad sangat jap ik khina. Make a success of your life. Life is precious, but lasts only an instant. It's gone in a flash, so make it a success. Seek the association of the good or enlightened individuals and live every moment in self-awareness. So that really is Guru Arjan's definition of success in life. Not small incremental changes, but radical change, which requires an entire shift in one's consciousness. Bhakti is the method, but what does that entail? It means committing oneself to a higher vision, to the wisdom of the self, and developing one's body, mind, and heart in that direction. Means total commitment. Loving devotion. Sukh ordinarily means happiness, pleasure, an agreeable feeling, but it's also used to connote bliss. So Guru Arjan is defining Sukh as being in a constant state of heart consciousness. That is his idea. So what he's asking us to do is really shift our consciousness to a higher level, a deeper dimension, if you will. And then the next 3 verses simply list out the various pleasures of the world that we are engaged in. Not that he says we shouldn't be pursuing them. What he's cautioning us about is that they're all transitory. They're fleeting in nature. So let's see what he says. Sut sampat banta binod Sut is children, Sampatti is wealth, Banata is really a reference to women but involves a spouse here. Binod, pleasure. All of these things. Chhod gahe baholog, pog. Pog is experience, the pleasure. So this is an experience that multitudes have enjoyed. But they have had to leave all this behind. Not only that, Haver gaver raj rang, Tyag chalyo hai mood nang. Many have derived pleasure from status symbols. And in the time that Guru Arjan composed this, it was fine horses and elephants, Haver, Gaver. Those were displays of status. Haver, Gaver, Raj, Rang, displays of power. But Tyag chalyo hai mood nang, the foolish, do not realize that when the time comes, one leaves the world empty-handed. Again, a stress on the transitoriness of worldly pleasures, associations. Choa chandana de phulya, the body, perfuming the body to elevate one's mood, but the same body, so tan tar sang rulya, tar is dust. It returns to dust. It is dust. Here's the irony of life that he's drawing out. And when we get involved in this cycle of transitory pleasures, we create a vortex, essentially, where we can't get out of it. You see, you enjoy a pleasure, it's temporary, then you want to repeat it, and you do, and then you want it again and again, and suddenly you are trapped in moh, attachment. So the Guru says when that happens, your sense of reality is distorted. You have no sense of the self at that point because it seems very distant. But Nanak says, Kaho Nanak sada hadur hai. The self is ever present. And that's what we have to catch. So now clinging to fleeting pleasures is the cause of attachment. But we don't need to renounce family or wealth, but to recognize that they are transitory. So to be in the world, but to not be of the world. And to commit ourselves, to devote ourselves to developing one's capacities of the body, the mind, and heart. That is what bhakti is, in loving devotion to a vision which Pani calls Har consciousness or Har wisdom. On that note, until the next time, Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.